You always got people harping on you about iPro, and you wonder why. My eyeballs, it's plastic BBs, it can't do that much damage. Now today I got a special video for you because we're going to be testing out what exactly a plastic BB can do to your eyeballs. Now, I've got a fake skull here. It's like a ceramic skull or something like that. And some gummy eyeballs that I've inserted inside of the skull. And we're going to be taking some pot shots at it with different rifles with varying FPSs and seeing what kind of damage exactly that does. We're going to be starting at around 300 FPS, working our way up to 400, and then maybe if we have time we'll get up to a 500 sniper rifle, but we'll see about that. Now, tests we're conducting, like I said, is going to be a varying FPS. I believe it's going to be 300, 340, 375, up to 400, and maybe the 500. And the shots are going to be at around 10 to 15 feet back with 0.2 BBs for the FPS that is below 350. Once we get up past the 350, I think I'm going to switch over to 0.25 just to see what kind of damage it really does with the extra momentum and the, like I said, extra weight, higher FPS. So typically we're going to be going from an indoor setup with the 0.2 grams, sub 350, all the way to an outdoor setup over 350 FPS, 0.25 BBs. So that's the idea behind that. So good luck to this guy over here. As you can see, I already got it started, but you know, better time, there's no better time to get started than now. So let's go ahead and continue with the video.
Alright, so first up we have here the 300 FPS, shooting it out of a my Matrix Custom. So we're going to really see here with the slow-mo just how much impact these little 0.2 BBs, even on a lower FPS, how they affect. As you can see there, you know, after everything's said and done, it's hard to tell what the BB really does. But with that first shot, you saw it kind of penetrate through, and then the jelly kind of pushed it back out. But there was some penetration. If it wasn't for the density of the jelly, you know, it would have kind of just sat there. But you know, you're noticing some kind of damage here. I did use two kind of jelly or like gummy eyeballs. One of them had like an exterior that was kind of like a traditional jelly. Look, as you can see, it's kind of splitting there and kind of tearing. You're going to notice a little bit later in the other videos. You're not going to see that effect, which I wish I had maintained the same kind of eyeball. That's my mistake, but I mean, you know, it's still good research and still good to see. There I'm hitting it with the semi-auto, or the burst. It's really holding on there. So that's the 300 FPS with 0.2 gram BBs in slow motion. Alright, so here's part two. I'm shooting, I think it's 345, 350 with KWA Ava 4. God, that sounds really cool. That slow motion kind of BB sound. So there we go. Yeah, first couple misses. We got the first landing on the eyeball. Nothing too crazy. You're kind of seeing it get absorbed. It's sticking, so that means there's some sort of penetration that's holding on to the BB. It doesn't look as bad as a 300 FPS, but I think you'll see here in a little bit, once I start hitting bursts, just kind of how powerful it is and what you know, what even BBs can do to BBs when they're just kind of colliding against each other. So boom, I got a nice little grouping there. Look at the jelly's kind of moving that top right BB back to where like its original position. So it's just showing that it absorbs energy and then kind of pushes everything back together because it's really firm. I did have these eyeballs in the refrigerator. I'll mention it later. But yeah, there's the burst. There we go. Look at that. That's so cool how it just smashes that. Boom, boom, boom. I think there's like 3 hits back to back on that one BB, and it just completely shattered. So, you know, those little shards, they're sharp. You know, you know, they got those sharp edges. They can definitely cut and do some damage. So, All right, here we go. Yeah, part 2 or part 3, whatever the heck part this is. As you can notice, we switched up the eyeballs. I'm using a slightly different one, but it's different nonetheless. As opposed to having like that soft jelly-like substance in the front, it's just kind of like a whole gummy eyeball with a similar consistency all the way around. So we're having a lot of ricochets. Well, not necessarily ricochets, but they're bouncing off. There's another one. And eventually, there we go. So we start getting a little bit of a penetration into the underlayer, which is causing the BBs to stick. Here we go. We're switching over to a full auto to really start getting the stick because, like I said, the consistency of this one was slightly different. Now I'm still shooting, I think, 0.20 BBs. Missing a little bit, but whatever. Fragmentations all over the eyeballs. We'll get that into the analysis in just a little bit. Enjoy the slow motion.
Alright, so that was the 360, 375 FPS. Let's take a closer look at it. I'm going to pull the eyeball out of the skull here. Now, as you can see, there's some sticking to it, obviously because this is like a sugar gelatin, so it's kind of sticking to it. But definitely some good damage. You can see a lot of scratches in the all over the eyeball from the fragmentation, especially. Sequential BBs kind of hit you in the same spot, they're going to explode and frag out. Same thing if you had some sort of eye protection that had the metal mesh as opposed to some sort of clear lens. But as we take off some of these BBs, if you look right here, it's actually inside of the jelly. So we have some good penetration actually right around there. See, there's a nice hole in there created by a BB. So we got good penetration. These ones specifically, these little jelly eyeballs, are a little bit stronger, and I did have them in the refrigerator before conducting these tests, other jelly filled too, just to kind of firm them up a little bit. That could be affecting the test as well, but I mean, I think a human eyeball at this point would be a little bit softer and definitely a little bit easier to penetrate. So it is damaging, looks pretty bad. Definitely would need to go to the hospital after this. I think even at the lower FPSs, a hospital visit would be necessary, and probably loss of eyesight. Yikes. Ew. So real quick, I want to talk about the lower FPSs. I know I got pictures of them, but I didn't think to record until this one, of kind of like the analysis of the BBs and the gummy eyeball. Them being lower FPSs and, like I said, 0.2 gram BBs, the penetration was not as much as the one we saw just now with the 375, but definitely still some good damage, especially during those bursts. When you got the BBs and the fragmentation. All the BBs fragged at the lower FPSs, even at 300. Once they strike each other, they're gonna explode. So like I said, if you got those iPro that has like the metal mesh with the little cutouts, the little eyes, and a BB hits that area, you're gonna get a bunch of fragmentation straight into your eyeball, and now you have these little shards that are sharp, stabbing you all over the eye. Not good, not fun. So let's continue with the test. We're gonna move up to 400 FPS with 0.25 BBs, and we'll see how much penetration we get on this eyeball here.
Alright, so here we go. Test 4. I think we're at 400 FPS at this point. Yeah. So, once again, we're using those same eyeballs as the previous test, and we got a stick a little bit early on. It was bouncing off. I'm going to continue just trying to hit this sucker right in the eyeball. Surprisingly kind of hard to miss, as you can tell. It's missing quite a bit, but I did hit it quite a few times, so whatever. kind of hitting, it lands, another one hits next to it, it bounces, and that's kind of just how it's going to go. And it's just kind of creating a deeper and deeper penetration each landing it hits. So I think I switch over to full auto in just a little bit. Couple of blow out the rear of that skull. Boom! Shoving that eyeball back inside. It's supposed to simulate kind of a full auto or a burst to someone's face, just so kind of people realize what kind of damage they can do. If they weren't wearing any kind of eye pro or anything like that.
Alright, so I didn't actually have .25 BBs, or maybe I did, tracers, but I found .28 BBs, and that's just what I shot at it right now. Once again, these are a little bit cold, so they're a bit firmer than what you would expect. But same deal. As you can see, we got BBs kind of sticking through it, and they're kind of like inside a little bit, just barely getting sucked in. Oh, that one does not want to come out. Ugh. Yeah, that would have gone straight through. We got the little shards fragging and then cutting, as you can see here. This one is lodged inside with kind of the sharp part pointed inside of the retina. Is that what that's called? I'm sorry, I'm not a scientist. But other than that, nothing too crazy. Just a lot of fragmentation, a bunch of scratches, a bunch of kind of little dents all around the eyeball. I mean, like I've stated before, these eyeballs are a little bit firmer than what you would expect. I think the equivalent of an eyeball is like the consistency of gelatin, so like a Jello cup. So hey, maybe that'd be a good test, getting like a Jello cup and then shooting at it and then seeing what kind of a penetration that we get from each BB. But regardless, this was a fun test. I think goes to show, I mean, this stuff is kind of strong, a little bit brittle. I would maybe equate it to teeth. So I don't know if you've seen those videos before, but people have gotten their teeth shot out by airsoft guns. And I'm sure that's not fun and very expensive. But that was 400 FPS with .28 BBs. Definitely going to the hospital, guys. We're looking at good damage here, as you can see. But let's see what 500 FPS with maybe a heavier BB does. All right. Alright, so we just got done shooting it with the VSR-10, 500 FPS with .32 gram BBs. Definitely noticing a bigger or a deeper penetration on the eyeballs. Okay. Alright. Now, I don't know if you can see it here, but let's see if that focuses. Alright, there's like a ring of the gummy kind of inside or around the eyeball. So it's almost as if the BB actually penetrated a little bit deeper and the gummy ended up pushing it out. So that's something to take into consideration with these tests and with the other FPSs, is that perhaps we had a deeper penetration, but because the gummy is a little bit more denser, it kind of absorbed and pushed it back, as opposed to just absorbing all of it. So we're seeing that here and here. Here as well, we got fragmentation, where it's kind of showing like a ring of gummy a little bit higher on the BB than what is currently, it's not showing that it's as deep, but it definitely went deeper and kind of bounced back out, kind of pushed itself back out. So I was about 20 feet away. I didn't want to get too far away just because I'm not, I'm not the craziest, I'm not the best sniper. So this one in particular is really in there. See, there's like that ring of gummy around it. I don't know if you can see it, but it's there. So we had a deep penetration. There's kind of a hole right there where the other BBs kind of went in. So I think the next test would be to get like a cup of Jello and shoot at that, and that way we can actually visually see how deep these BBs can travel when they're in something more similar to the molecular composition of an eyeball. So I mean, regardless, this is a really fun test. I meant to shoot this a little bit earlier for October, the spooky season and the skeleton and all that, but he's definitely seen better days, as you can see. Yikes. So to the trash he goes, as well as these gummy eyeballs. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I had a lot of fun. I was really curious to see what these BBs could do, I think this just proves that, always wear your eye pro. It does matter. Just because it's a little bit of piece of plastic, these things are flying at a very high rate, and your eyeball is very soft tissue. So, wear your eye pro. Make sure it's proper, either Z71 or I think that's probably the best way to look into it, is that it's ANSI 87.1 rated. Any kind of army or military approved eye lens should be good. Not just that it's color correct or whatever, but that it's actually meets their ballistic standards. So look into that. Make sure you get proper eye pro, because you've only got 2 of them. They don't come back. So, keep them protected. All right. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you thought of this video. Maybe we could do some more tests later in the future. So, keep supporting the channel. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys out there. Peace.